Ladies and gentlemen, the MLB offseason is officially heating up. The hot stove is burning hot. You do not want to touch it right now because we're Ken Rosenthal on Twitter. The Mets are engaging in serious talks with James McCann, and he said that they are closing on a 4-year deal. That is significant because the only other catcher on the market that you should be going for is JT Realmuto. In my opinion, James McCann is a Walmart version of JT. That is not a diss. I would just say that JT is a whole lot better at specific things, but James McCann is not too far behind in certain departments. So what we're going to do is break down the James McCann signing, talk about if they overpay for him or if they didn't give him enough, and then also George Springer. If the Mets do end up signing James McCann, in my opinion, you can pretty much seal the deal. The fact that the Mets will be saving money with a McCann signing, George Springer will be the everyday center fielder for the Mets in the 2021 season. You could pretty much book it. But without further ado, thank you all so much for stopping by. Let's go ahead and break down James McCann over JT Realmuto because honestly, it's an argument that has to be made. So first and foremost, I do want to cover my bases. As I'm recording this, the only report that has come out is the fact that Ken Rosenthal has tweeted that James McCann is signing a 4-year deal. Now, if we take a look at James McCann over the course of his career, if they give him any more than $10 to $12 million a year, that will be a severe overpay. If they choose to give him anywhere from 50, 60 plus million dollars, as a Mets fan, I'm still going to be fine with it because I think that he is better than Wilson Ramos, talking about James McCann. But the fact remains that JT Realmuto could have filled that position as well, probably in the range of 4 years, 85 to 90. And because you have a brand new, fresh billionaire owner worth $16 billion in Steve Cohen, you can afford to pay JT Realmuto a couple extra $1 million a season to get the best catcher in all of baseball. James McCann, on a good day, is possibly a top 10, probably a top 10 catcher. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. And if we talk about 2020, you might put him in the top 5 catcher conversation because if we compare James McCann and JT Realmuto offensively, McCann actually had a sneaky good season. I'm going to throw up the comparisons right now. James McCann is in fact older and he strikes out a whole lot more and he doesn't walk at all, but he plays just as good of defense and the home run pop is the cherry on top. That's really where you have to stop comparing, is the fact that JT Realmuto is faster. He's going to have a better average over the course of a full 162 game season. I would take JT as a defender over James McCann every single day, but you can't disregard 18 home runs in 2019 from James McCann. You can't disregard 7 bombs in 31 games and an almost 900 OPS from McCann in the 2020 season. But the thing that I will know is that was only 31 games. It was a full 60-game season, but he was a backup catcher to Yasmani Grandal, so we could not see his fullest potential to see if he could repeat 2019. And the small sample size, it was very evident that yes, he could replicate the all-star season he had in 2019. But again, in my opinion, considering his track record where before 2019, his highest career OPS in a single season was 683, that is way below average. His defense made up for it. That's a 100% fact. But if you're going to spend $40 to $50 million on a catcher, you might as well spend the extra $7 to $10 million a season on JT Realmuto, the undoubted, undisputed king of the world at the catcher's position. I just believe that JT Realmuto is a perfect player as a backstop. I mean, if we take a look at his stats from 2015 to 2020, he's averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 home runs. In 2016, he had 12 stolen bases. So the guy has wheels. And ever since 2018, he has never had an OPS lower than 820. He's a 2-time All-Star. He won a Gold Glove. Overall, he played 47 games. He had 11 bombs. He had 32 RBIs. And he had an 840 OPS as a catcher. And also when you're playing the defense that he played, you have to put him in the conversation as the best player on the Phillies, including Bryce Harper. So I want you all to let me know in the comment section down below whether you're a Mets fan or not. Would you rather have James McCann for lesser money so you can sign George Springer? We'll talk about that in just a second. Or would you rather have JT Realmuto, the bona fide best catcher in baseball, and kind of go from there because Daddy Cohen, that's the nickname that everyone is giving Steve Cohen, the owner of the Mets, because he is just going to spend money left and right. Let me know in the comment section down below. Do you think that this is a good idea considering what they're paying him? Or do you think they should have upped the ante and signed JT and George Springer. Just spend all of the money and invest while you can. So of course, the one prominent upside to signing James McCann is that you are going to save money regardless. Even if they overpay just a little bit and they don't sign JT Realmuto, you still have extra money left over to go get, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in baseball because of all the hate that the Astros get, George Springer. If we take a look at his 2019 stats, he was basically Mark McGwire in just 122 games. He missed 40 games, he had 39 home runs and a 974 OPS. In 2020, in 51 games, he had 14 home runs, only struck out 38 times compared to 24 walks. So he's pretty good at, getting on base, as evident by his 359 on base percentage. And then to finish off the 2020 season, he had an 899 OPS, a 140 OPS plus. The man has been a monster ever since his rookie year in 2014, where he came in 8th place. But that year, he had an 804 OPS and a 126 OPS plus. So every single year that George Springer has been in baseball, maybe aside from 2018 when he was injured and didn't really play his best ball, he has been one of the most elite outfielders in the entire game. He's a 3-time All-Star. He came in 7th place in 2019 for the American League MVP, 13th in 2020. So you are getting a superstar that does not need trash cans. Let's say that right now. 2017, it happened. I would not say let's get over it and let's move past it, but the fact remains that Carlos Correa and George Springer, they were terrific in the 2020 postseason, and we know without a doubt they were not cheating. A lot of haters would say, well, we don't know that for sure. I promise you, they were not cheating. So if the Mets are able to sign James McCann and then because of that have extra money to spend on George Springer and a pitcher, what might happen, and I'm not betting on it, but if the Mets do come through with a solid and team-friendly James McCann contract, they will get George Springer and one more pitcher. I'm not sure who it's going to be, whether that's Trevor Bauer, because the market and Steve Cohen is very, very interesting and intriguing to Trevor Bauer as a brand. Could you imagine him in vlogging as a New York Mets baseball player in the city of New York? That would just be ridiculous, and to me, that would be a match made in heaven aside from him going to the Angels. So if McCann ends up on the Mets, so many things can happen. It will be a snowball effect. But let me know in the comment section down below, would you rather have James McCann and George Springer, or would you rather have JT Realmuto and a B-level pitcher? That's a question that we all have to ask and answer if you're a Mets fan. I don't really have an opinion because I'm an Indians fan. We are imploding. We are not signing anyone. So as a baseball fan, I would rather have the trio: James McCann, George Springer, and Trevor Bauer, or another A to A- pitcher. That's just my opinion. Let me know what you think. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope that you did enjoy. If you did, leave a like. Do not forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out. Also, speaking of Trevor Bauer, there might be a cool video coming out with the both of us, so stay tuned.